Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight we're talking about beautiful and extraordinary rose fragrances from my collection. Why are they extraordinary? Well, because they're in my collection. Those of you who are familiar with my channel know that florals don't tend to work out too well for me. I think they're wonderful, but they just don't work with my body chemistry most of the time. But there are a few exceptions, and these in the rose category are those exceptions. Now, I will say that at the end of the video, there are two rose fragrances I'll talk about that may be discontinued. I'm not positive, so you'll want to do some research for yourself if you're interested in these. I found conflicting information, so I don't know for sure. Now, on the topic of discontinued fragrances, taking for granted these are, um, I hope that doesn't upset anyone. I myself like hearing about fragrances regardless of whether they're discontinued. I do appreciate knowing that they are or might be discontinued, but there are ways to acquire discontinued fragrances. They may not be ways you're interested in. They may carry a bit more risk. So you're going to want to be careful if you engage in that type of a purchase like you would anything else, really. You just, maybe have a little bit more risk where that's concerned because you're not necessarily buying it from a traditional retailer. That doesn't mean that other retailers aren't safe and reputable. You just want to do a little more diligence around those kinds of markets. That having been said, like any fine work of art, um, something discontinued can still be pursued. Something singular is not worth less because it isn't being reproduced. So for me, I enjoy hearing about these fragrances. What's more, if you were to go to some of these fragrance research websites, and you know what they are, you could research similar fragrances, and very often there are some that, if you're really interested in a discontinued fragrance, will kind of scratch that itch for you. So consider those things, and I'll save the two that may be discontinued for last. But for now, let's jump right in. The first fragrance I'm going to talk about is Eau Capitale by Diptyque. This is a rose forward sheep. This is an EDP. It's 75 mil. It goes for about $255, and it is a 2019 release. This fragrance, well, the nose behind it is Olivier Pachot. This has pink pepper, rose, bergamot, and patchouli. Now, this being a patchouli sheep as opposed to a more earthy oak moss sheep really does come across differently. So for me, I'm still learning. I love sheeps, but they're almost all oak moss based sheeps in my collection. So I'm still learning about the olfactive kind of feel for a patchouli sheep. And this is definitely different, but what it has is that classic feel. And it doesn't mean it's dated or vintage smelling. It's classic in that anyone could wear this. So this is unisex. But, when I say anyone can wear this, I mean for any occasion. You're going to be fabulous wearing this in a business suit, or in jeans and a t-shirt, or with, a leather biker jacket, doing whatever it is you're going to do. This is that versatile. And, the person who wears this can wear anything. And I think it speaks to the personality type or the mood when you're wearing it. You just, you're set to do anything. You can rub elbows with anyone. And that's what this says. You are comfortable everywhere. You're comfortable in your own skin. This is a versatile fragrance for a versatile person or a versatile mood. Definitely. Eau Capitale by Diptyque. Moving on, we've got, let's see, Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton. So, of course, I got this at the Louis Vuitton boutique at the Wynn in Las Vegas. I just think I need to mention I talk about my fragrance shopping at the boutiques at the Wynn in Las Vegas, but um, I don't have any affiliation with them. They don't sponsor me or anything. It just happened to be the hotel we stayed at when we used to go to Vegas a lot. We went to Vegas a lot, not because we enjoy gambling or anything like that. It's just that it was an easy um, trip by car to Las Vegas from Salt Lake City when we lived there recently. And there are lots of fun things to do there, right? There's lots to see, there are shows, things like that. But uh, I happen to they have great fragrance shopping there. So I picked this up there. So this fragrance um, is kind of an ambery, smoky leather rose. I've heard it described a lot as a jammy rose, I suppose, but I get more oud and leather out of this than I do jam. It's not sweet to me. It's dark, for sure. So the nose behind this is Jacques Cavalier Belletrude. This goes for about $440 for this 100 ml. It's an EDP and it is a 2018 release. There is also some raspberry, saffron, geranium, benzoin, amber, and birch in here, but I really get that oudy, leathery rose. Really beautiful. I think it's masculine leaning, and I personally don't care about that. I think it smells great on me. But if you're not into masculine leaning fragrances, you're definitely going to want to, especially at this price point, you're going to want to test it before you make a blind buy. At least that's my recommendation. So this is dark and warm and mysterious. It gives you a feeling that you're safe, right? You're comforted by the leather. At least I find leather very comforting and strong, and that makes me feel secure. But at the same time, there's some mystery to it. And it's one of those situations where you are nervous about something, right? There's a mystery. You can't necessarily see everything. There's a little bit of a shadow going on, but it's okay because you know it's completely safe. And so you can enjoy the mystery. And that's what I like about this. It makes me think a little bit. It doesn't smell anything like the airplane kind of ozonic experience. There are fragrances out there that smell like that, where you're flying, or it's the ozone or mountain air, things like that. You don't get that from here. But why I think of an airplane with this is because I've always felt very safe on airplanes, and that's because I've known my whole life I'm not going to die in an airplane crash. I've just known it. I am certain. And so when I'm on an airplane and there's turbulence, you feel like, oh boy, you get a little bit of a feeling in your stomach, a nervous feeling. But for me, that kind of mysterious, slightly nerve-wracking feeling is subdued by the fact that I will not die in an airplane crash. I know I'm going to be fine. And that allows me to enjoy, being a little bit out of sorts from time to time. Just enjoy the mystery. Enjoy the fact that you don't necessarily know everything that's going on around you, and you don't have to feel threatened by it. And that's what this makes me think of. There's a mystery there. There's something else going on, but it's okay. It's perfectly safe. The leather reassures me that I'm going to be just fine. And it helps me to feel secure when I wear it. So gorgeous stuff. Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton. Next we have this one. Okay. This is Rose Barbare by Guerlain. This is tiny because it came in a discovery set. Now, this is not a fragrance I would have purchased on its own. So that is why I have this little bottle, and that is probably all I'm ever going to have. However, this is really nice. I may change my mind at some point. There is, I really don't want to like this. It's a classic rose, um, and it's a soft, powdery expression of the classic rose. It's also described as a sheep style fragrance, again, because of that patchouli. The nose behind this, by the way, is Francis Kirkjohn. It's a 2025 release. For 100 mil, this would go for $445, and it's an EDP. So the very high quality rose in the beginning comes across very floral to me, and so it was off-putting and I didn't care for it. But it came in the discovery set, so I played around with it. And what I get is an opening that I don't like. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not me. But when it dries down, it is so beautiful. It almost smells like, it's almost got like a paper accord, like a cottony paper accord. Um, it's hard to describe. It's very clean, very fresh, almost powdery, soft, feminine, very feminine leaning rose. I don't know. I think I love it. Oh, help me. I don't know what to do. Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. I'm struggling. I don't like the opening, but I kind of love that. You know what? It'll go on the wish list. And if someone gets it for me for a holiday or something, I will cherish it. But my point is, the way this opens is not the way it dries down. Also, the way this smells on paper is not the way it smells on your skin. The opening goes away much quicker with the warmth of the skin. So you get to that really beautiful dry down much, much sooner. There are multiple kinds of roses in here, as I understand it. Um, and it was, a lengthy process, in the formulation of the fragrance originally. For me, I get a lot of that aldehyde sparkle that mutes the heavy rose in the dry down. It almost gives it like a zippy, gingery thing, but tempered. It's not like bright in your face. It's muted a bit. It's really a complex, beautiful expression of rose that and I'm thrown off because I'm not good with florals. But this one, yeah, this may have to go right on the wish list. I'm not sure, but potentially yes. Let me know, have you tried this? What do you think of it? Is this as dynamic as I'm experiencing it, or is that just me? Rose Barbare by Guerlain. Moving on, we have, let's see. Yes. The Tom Ford Rose Prick. This is an EDP, 50 mil. This goes for about $405. I feel like the prices went way up on these. I don't remember paying that for it a couple of years ago when I bought it. This is a 2020 release, and this is a Guillaume Flavigny is the nose behind it. Apologies for butchering the name. There's Szechuan pepper in this, along with some turmeric, May rose, Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose, patchouli, and tonka bean. I love this. I loved it from the very beginning. I love the opening. I love the dry down. I love this fragrance. This is also a sheep style with that patchouli. It gives it like a classic, timeless feel, which I think makes it kind of universally appealing. The beginning opens up with almost a chocolate rose accord. And I've had rose flavored chocolate before, and it's amazing, very sophisticated. And then it kind of dries down to a dark green from that patchouli. Um, this makes me think of being on a dining car on the Orient Express. It's, again, got a little mystery to it, dark wood, the comfort of the sound of the train. You're moving and going somewhere. You're not standing still. I don't know. For me, I like the idea of being in motion. I like traveling. Not not necessarily for the destination. I mean, I am interested in where I'm going, of course, but the motion, the movement, I really like that. I like being in a car that's going somewhere. I like being on a train. I like being on a boat. I love being on an airplane. So this gives me that sense of movement and the comfort associated with it that I love. I almost crave it. And that dark chocolate merging into the dark green patchouli. Very sophisticated. I think some people would say this leans masculine. Um, I think it's perfectly unisex. Gorgeous stuff. Rose Prick by Tom Ford. All right, we have another Tom Ford. I suppose I should mention for this one that I'm not sure the status of it. So maybe there are three instead of two that might fit into the discontinued column. I did find this for sale, and it was a full bottle, and the price was $450. This is Rose de Russie. This is 50 mil. It's an EDP, and it is a 2022 release. Now, what I read is that this fragrance is not widely available anymore. I've also read that it was replaced by Rose Exposed. And then I've read that perhaps Rose Exposed is significantly different. I've not sampled Rose Exposed. Most of what I've heard is the intent was to rename it Rose Exposed from Rose de Russie. And so if that's true, then the formulation should be the same. But again, I do not know. I have not tried Rose Exposed. I didn't have to. I have this. So I really wasn't interested because at first I heard it was just a renaming of this. You could see I've made a huge dent in this. It's beautiful purple, kind of smoky purple juice inside. This is a stunner. I adore this. I don't just like it, I love it. And I will be deeply, deeply dismayed when it is gone. So this is a smoky, leathery rose, different from Ombre Nomade, which also has a smoky component to it and a strong leather and oud. This is completely different. This fragrance is white pepper, rose, leather, and woods. Um, I find this very, very comforting and very smoke forward. This, it's, I think this is very unique. It definitely is more masculine than feminine in my opinion, but I don't care. I I put this on and I just cannot get enough. It has incredible longevity, beautiful sillage, but I will reapply it just so I can get more. It's like I can't stop. I can't get enough, which is why it's half gone. Have you tried this? Do you know whether Rose Exposed is the same formulation or what's going on with that? Any experience that you have with it, please leave me a comment. I really am interested in hearing what is happening. There's a lot of conflicting information out there, and so I figure maybe one of you knows the answer, but absolutely stunning, smoky, leathery rose. Love it, love it, love it. Rose de Russie by Tom Ford. All right, moving on to those that may be discontinued. This one I don't have a full bottle of. I have a decant. It is Exquisite Embroidery by YSL. This is a 2017 release. It's an EDP. I have a 9 ml decant, and this goes for about $50. I don't know what a full bottle would go for. I have to guess around 300 on up. If it's discontinued, obviously even more on the secondary market. The nose behind this is Hamid Muradi Kashani. The notes in this are nutmeg, ginger, rose, patchouli, ambergris, oud, and musk. I get a gourmand rose from this, but a creamy, like a creme brulee or a panna cotta with rose water. I could also see gingerbread with rose. So I guess I would see something of like a panna cotta with rose water and perhaps a ginger type cookie on the side. And, you take a little bit of the cookie and, you place it on the spoon holding the panna cotta and you eat it. And that is this. This is so gorgeous. If you don't like gourmands, then you may not like. This is not a heavy gourmand. It's just kind of a nod in that direction, right? It's not, you're not smelling like food with this, not at all. But it's got that kind of creaminess that isn't like a body lotion creamy. It's like a consumable cream. Not sweet, but definitely edible and gorgeous. And what I love is that the rose in the edible context, I think, is kind of unusual in the fragrance world. You hear a lot about jammy roses, but this is different. This is really very very comforting, more dessert-like, but not sweet. So have you heard of Exquisite Embroidery? Do you know whether it's actually discontinued? If you've got any intel on it, please let me know in the comments. I will say too that the place I got the decant from, I'll just tell you, it's Scent Split, and here it is. You can still get a 9 ml decant of this. What I am thinking of doing, if it is discontinued, is getting a couple of those. Like I said, it goes for $50, putting them in a nice atomizer and just going from there, because I really like this. By the way, I've not smelled anything else quite like it. And so that's why I would be willing to go to that length, make the extra effort to acquire it if I can't get a full bottle. And I do worry that if I were to go to I'll just say a non-mainstream retailer for this, I would worry about counterfeits. So I would feel safer going through Scent Split, getting maybe 2 more 9 ml decants and putting them in an atomizer. But hey, that's just because I'm not experienced with the secondary market or the more private retailers. That doesn't mean they're all bad. I'm sure almost all, if not all, are good, right? But there's that little chance. And because I'm not sophisticated when it comes to that, I wouldn't take even a small chance with a counterfeit. So, Exquisite Embroidery by YSL. Last, but definitely not least, is Prin L'Amrose's Strangers Parfumerie's Magenta Pop. Now, I do have, obviously, a bottle of this, and I've made something of a dent in it. I love this fragrance. It is blueberry leather, gingerbread orris, grape honey, red wine, licorice, rose, orange, cedarwood, tobacco, cinnamon, and civet. Now, this is sweet, fruity, honeyed rose with tobacco, spices, wine, grapes. What you think it sounds like, what you think it's going to smell like, is exactly what you get. Wine and roses, my friends. Wine and roses. Absolutely. This makes me think when I was single and I lived in New York City, there were times when I would go out with friends. There were these after bars, one in particular in Brooklyn that I used to go to, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was great. It was dark. They had, just some soft, um, maybe 1930s jazz going on in the background, very quiet. They didn't have chairs, they had couches and like wingback chairs, right? Not like hard chairs, but just, upholstery in there. And you'd go, you'd have an aperitif or like a glass of port. You could have, coffee if you wanted. You could have chocolate and cheese. I think that was pretty much it, along with your beverage. And you'd sit around and just relax after the eventful evening, play a little chess. They had a little library in there. You could grab a book and read it if you wanted. It was just a relaxing after place, after bar. Wonderful, wonderful memories there with friends. And you'd be there at like 2 in the morning, getting ready to go home and just relaxing, chilling out, and enjoying one last drink and snacks with friends. And that's exactly what Magenta Pop gives me. The animalics in here are very subdued, and I think it's more honey forward than any of the typical animalics you'd think of. This is definitely more of that honey animalic, and I think more tolerable to people who don't care for animalics. The status of it, I've seen both. It's available, it's discontinued. I really can't say for sure, so you want to do your own research, but I absolutely love this house. Beautiful stuff. The projection on this is incredible. The longevity is incredible. A little goes a long, long way. Even though this is an EDP, it wears like an X-straight for sure. And right down the middle, perfectly unisex, beautiful stuff from Pren Rose at Stranger's Parfumerie. So what do you think of the Rose lineup? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I absolutely love getting comments, so feel free to leave me some. I read them all and I respond to them. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.